Here we go, the 2025 Cox Plate, the last of the old track, special track, Kingston Town, Far Lap. They all won here, so pretty nostalgic day. This Cox Plate's gone from having a sort of a style of a Cox Plate of a let's elope, better loosen up, naturalism, superimpose, slight chance style of Cox Plate with a lot of chances to more of a bone crusher, our Waverley Star, where there's only two main chances. Our ratings say there's only two main chances. It's similar to the market, but not quite exact. There is a difference in the way we would see the market and the way the market is at the moment. Just remember though, even if there's maybe only two main chances in this race and it's fallen away in a degree, the Cox Plate is a race that never ever disappoints. We have got two horses here. They've got exact same preparation and rating patterns as their last spring. And they're the two that we got on top. Let's go through it, starting with Antino. So let's go through. Here's our ratings here. His last campaign, 31st of the 8th, 24, he went half a length under benchmark. So that was his first start under the 1400. Then on the 14th of the 9th on the heavy 9, we didn't rank that run due to the heavy track. Then we come his third to Pride of Jenny over the mile. Take note, he runs a +2. And then fourth up, he runs over the mile again, and that's when he runs his +6, winning the Toorak by 6.5 lengths. So fourth up, slightly different distances, but fourth up in the prep, he explodes with a +6. So we've got no reason why he won't do that +6, especially considering last prep, third up over the 2,000 metres, he runs a +5.7. So here we go, this prep. How is it different? Well, Golan has done the same technique. He's giving him that one run at the same distance of his grand finals. This time it's 2,000 instead of being the 1,600 Toorak. So he's gone 14 a mile, 2,000, and now the Cox Plate 2,000. Very similar to Via Sestina's prep. So here, this prep, you could argue he's going to go better than the +6. He's gone half a length under over the 1,400, and then he gets to that mile, which he does seem to love. He goes 2.5 lengths above average. Then over the 2,000 metre, go 3 lengths above average, which is the similar platform. He went 2 lengths above. He went 2 lengths above benchmark before he peaked +6. This time he's got a +3. So you could argue he's going to go further than the +6. But we're staying safe, especially considering his last peak last time in the Doomben Cup was a +5.7. There's every sign in the world here. Antino Golan's aimed him specifically for the Cox Plate. Nothing else. He is going to run +6 above average. That takes us to Via Sestina. What was her ratings on the spring where she won the Cox Plate last year? She ran a +3 or +2.9. Note say ran through the line first up. Then on the heavy disappointing, no rating. And then she runs a +3 again. So between first up and third up, she held that 3 lengths above average. 14 mile, 3 weeks, 2,000 metres, runs a +3, then 3-week gap, second run over the 2,000, and then we've got that wow rating here, a +12. With Pride of Jenny in the race, she runs a +12. And then after that, she regresses going over the 2,000 again with still a really handy +5.5. Then she runs in the autumn with an exact similar prep as the spring. So it gives a good idea of what she can do. And here we are, the 1,400 mile, 2,000 and 2,000 with a 3-week gap. So this time with the spring, all on good tracks, no heavy tracks, she runs a plus 2.5 first up. Then she goes to the 1600, runs a plus 3. And then she goes to the 2000, runs a plus 3, sounding very similar, hey, between those 2.5 plus 3. And then 21-week gap against Dubai Honor, the grand final. We've got her here, as you can see, running a plus 8, short of the plus 12. But to do that plus 12, that's astronomical. I think Winks only ran that rating once out of her 4 Cox Plates, a plus 12. So she would have beaten Winks 3 out of the 4 Cox Plates on that plus 12. Plus 8 is still a huge rating. So here we go. In the spring, similar prep. Waller does it again. He's a pattern trainer. We like patterns for ratings. It really does help. So here we go. She runs a plus 2.5 first up, a plus 2.5, and then a plus 1.6. So that makes things really interesting. She doesn't go the plus 3. She runs 1.5 lengths under. So we still think she's going to peak, but it just makes it interesting. So even those plus 2.5, they weren't quite plus 3s. They were half a length under. And then she should at least do a plus 2.5 last start, a plus 3. It was in a slowly run race. She had to sprint home, admittedly. But McDonald got her out off the back of that Mick Price horse. The name escapes me at the moment. So what is she going to do on the Cox Plate day? Look, we're setting anywhere between a plus 5, a plus 7. It's not as simple saying, okay, last prep, she improved 5 lengths. The Cox Plate, she improved 8 lengths between her last start and the grand final. It's not as simple as just adding plus 5 to plus 1.6 and you're saying she's going to go 6.6. It's showing us that she's maybe not going quite as well. And if that's the case, could she only improve 3 lengths and go a plus 4? But to play it safe, we do think we should add it. We think, considering a slowly run last start, considering she's only had the one run of the Valley and she's a plus 12, we've got to say she's going to go somewhere between a plus 5 and a plus 7, which is in Antino's range. So we've got them both going very close together, somewhere between there. The only way to really start to split them is to go old style and look at their last run behind the grand final and evaluate those runs and say, okay, they're both going to peak. Whose was the better run last start? Let's go over that video and we'll tell you what went ahead. Think to have a clear selection. Here we are at the 1200. Bear in mind this is the Turnbull. We're at the 1200 metre mark, the Turnbull 2000 metres. Caulfield Cup winner comes out of here, half yours. Off a slow pace, he sprinted really well. Here we go. We've got Antino here, 3 deep. And Sir Delius, they're just covered there a little bit. There we go. There's Sir Delius there. Remember Via Sistina drew the 1. She's in here. And we've got Antino there, 3 deep. So the winner here, Sir Delius. Via Sistina drew the 1 on the fence. And Antino 3 deep. Obviously we're more interested in Antino Via Sistina, but I do think it's important to mention what sort of run the winner got. Here we go here. As we progress them, Antino is caught 3 deep and smartly starts following Sir Delius, or maybe not so smart. And Via Sistina still here during the 1. That's really important to note. Now, Antino is in front of Via Sistina. Scroll back 200 metres. He's behind her. So, although we'll slowly run, that does take energy in the mid-race. It's a 2-length, extra work than Via Sistina. Not quite facing the breeze. And, he's 1.5 lengths in front of Via Sistina. That's important to note. And then what happens here? And he's staying that 1.5. Sedelius gets in. That pole's in our way. Sedelius gets in. And we've got Antino caught 3 deep outside these horses. Where is our buck? He's really secluded there, isn't he? He's 3 deep outside these horses. And Via Sestina still no change up speed in the barrier 1. There's Antino there. He's really well secluded. And this is Golden Path. That's that Mick Price horse I was mentioning. Watch what happens here. Watch what happens. There, Shin. Just here, Shin makes his move and he's working again. He's working for the 600. Here he makes his move and Golden Path starts to track him and that opens up for Via Sestina. Let's roll it in normal speed. And he surpassed, look, that's the move. We know Antino makes these moves. That's fair enough. But in the Cox Plate, it'll be different. Via Sestina's going to have to move with her. Here he is. Look at there, facing the breeze. He's made a move. So he's worked again. Now, Via Sestina, all she's done is slot out from the fence as Golden Path moved forward. And Via Sestina has had a lovely cut. It was a good ride back McDonald. He knew when to make the move. And his 3 back are following Golden Path. And I think it's really important, Sir Dilius. So twice Antino has made moves and worked harder than the opposition. He's behind, look at him. He's behind Sir Dilius here. And ends up in front of Sir Dilius. And look at that. Ends up in front of Sir Dilius. Via Sestina ends up out here. I suppose Golden Path's not taking her into the race. And here we've got a run on our hand. Let's play it here and watch. Shin hasn't really moved yet. Hasn't moved. He goes for her. Keep in mind these horses at the peak next run, not here. And he goes for it there. Finds a bit of a kick. Gets away from Sir Dilius. Sir Dilius hasn't worked as hard. Hasn't made as many big moves. And gets it on the line. And Tino, Sir Dilius basically ended up with the easier run and let's face it, Sir Dilius is a good horse. Waterhouse got him fit, and now we've got to assess Via Sestina. Now, it is hard to assess which run is better because Via Sestina is quite off Antino, and here she is here. Here's Antino, I should say, and she's wearing him down. Ever so slightly. Antino starts to get tired the last 100. Really get us tired this time. I suppose what's happening after the line? Yeah, there's not much between them. It's hard to evaluate these 2 runs where one horse is finishing hard. You always tend to go with that horse. But no doubt Antino had a harder run. And they're both going to have similar runs in the Cox Plate. They're both going to be watching each other. They're both going to take off together. So I don't have much between them. And one's around, $4. The other one's $2.20. So I'd probably mark them both at around $2.80 or $2.90, something like that. You could maybe give a slight edge for Via Sestina having won on this track and distance so well. Dangers, really, there are no dangers. You'd say light infantry man's out of form. Should have done more last start. You can't see attrition. Buckaroo, well, what is it ratings? It runs +3s. Its top is a +2 to +3, and we've just been saying we expect them to run between +6 and +7, and he's coming off an indifferent run. So Buckaroo's got to go to a new level. You can't see it happening. He's got to go to a new level to win. Globe, talking about set for the race, probably weren't set for the race. Mate, Globe, +1s, +2. We projected this horse to go +3.5 early. He went a +2 last start. Again, even if he goes to the +3.5 or what we projected, or he holds his level, goes a +2, it still falls short against these horses that are going to peak, being Antino and Via Sestina. Next in the market, Treasure the Moment. We've been talking about Treasure the Moment, talking about how it needs more time. What do our ratings say? +3.5. These are top. As you can see, you start hitting +3s, +4s. You got Buckaroo, you got Treasure the Moment, you got Aliana, great horses. But getting through that barrier, Carrying Rising went a +5.5 in the Everest. So we're talking about horses like Antino and Via Sistina. They get up there, the +5s, the +6. In Via Sistina's case, +8 and a +12 in last year's Cox Plate. So very good. Treasure the Moment, top horse. +3.5 peak last prep. Comes first up with a +3.5. Gets the colic. Regresses to a +1 and then regresses to a -2.2. These two 4-year-old mares, Treasure the Moment and Aliana, you need to have a light spring. They need to have a light spring. They're still technically 3-year-olds. In Treasure the Moment's case, she's a November foal. She's a 3-year-old filly. She had a setback. They need to be bouncing off their peak ratings to be a danger, and she's regressing. And there's good reason why she's regressing. Same with Aliana here. We were on Aliana last start. We really thought of the +3. We really thought she'd get one more, and she'd run around that +3 or +4. We got her going +2 and a +4.5 as a 3-year-old filly, and a +3. Make no mistake, had she won that last start, had she been Antino, we wouldn't be tipping you in the Cox Plate. Like, there'd be one run too many. We thought the last run would be the last peak run. And here she goes. She goes equal to average. So she regresses by +3 lengths. We thought she was on a trajectory. +1.5, +3. We thought she could do a +3 or maybe +4, +6. The potential. She was progressing. And she done a 4.5. But she went back to a benchmarker equal to average rating. So these two great 4-year-old mares that look like they're going to be competition, they have regressed, and for good reason. The maturity is not there. These two horses, Antino, Via Sistina, make no mistake, they're going to put it on from the 600-700. So these 4-year-old mares, they're going to really know about it. Nepotism. Nepotism is very interesting. It's got DF. For those who don't know, DF's different form line, different. If you're going to back anything outside Via Sistina or Antino, it'd want to be this bloke as a save at $20. He, for us, in the Champagne, ran a +2. That was a very big run, possible more ground. So we were saying when he ran Champagne, this is a 2,000-metre horse. And a +2 with My Gladiola makes him the highest rated 2-year-old for our ratings last prep. So it's very, very interesting runner here. And let me tell you, Caulfield Guineas winners, they don't have to win the Caulfield winners to win a Cox Plate. Octagonal ran 3rd in a Caulfield Guineas. So you think ran 5th in a Caulfield Guineas. But in saying that, we did run the video out of nepotism, and he was held up. He was octagonal, so you think they're hitting the line a little bit more viciously. Had he be hitting the line a little bit harder, would actually be tipping him in as a genuine danger. He still could be the knockout horse. And I know he was held up, and Shin was easy on him on the line. But you can see that other horse, what's his name, Revelino, his being, jockey sitting up on him as well. And he's feeling just as good or better. I just wanted to see a little bit more nepotism to get you as a real danger. Hey, there are our ratings. That's why we think it's a 2-horse race. For betting, I would probably, it's starting to, as I'm doing this video now at 1:30 in the afternoon, I took $4 on Ladbrokes. It was $3.80, Bet365. That's starting to already disappear. So if you were able to get around $4 on Antino, then you could save on Via Sistina, who probably will start blowing out to maybe a 250, a 260, and you could save on that and be maybe a main bet on Antino. That's the way we see the race. If we were to play, That's probably with straight out betting. That's the way we win ahead is going to play, and already we've put our Tino bet on, and we're waiting for Via Sistina to get a better price. Hey, good luck, good punning, and let's see a bone crusher, our Waverley Star, taking off before the turn, and a monster Cox Plate between these two great horses, Antino and Via Sistina. Thanks, guys. Take care. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call 1800 858 858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.